We had a lot of contenders for the coveted Quarterback of the Week award. But Matt, break the suspense. Who is it? Who is the Quarterback of the Week for Week 7?
I mean, it's Jared Goff. Like, what are we doing? This guy's just out here balling week in and week out, incredibly efficient, just finding completions left and right. I think he's doing such a great job of handling pressure when it's there. He's throwing with guys in his lap at certain times, finding completions, and then, he's pushing the ball down the field. And I just think he's on the same page, with his wide receiver group, but also with Ben Johnson. You're going against, Minnesota Vikings defense yesterday, and Brian Flores stresses you as much as anyone else in the league with number of guys they put at the line of scrimmage. And I thought Ben Johnson, on the touchdown pass Jared Goff threw down the middle yesterday, I thought the design of the play was beautiful. They took their receiver from all the way outside, motioned him back in, full slid away, used the receiver to block Harrison Smith on the defensive edge, put the back right inside of him, evened up the numbers versus cover zero. Jared looks the guys off, then fires it down the middle. To me, that's like the whole unit, all 11 being on the same page, knowing exactly what they're going to do during the week, game planning it, and then you see it come to life, and Jared puts the ball exactly where he needs to put it. It's impressive. And then also, throw out the numbers, just kind of the competitiveness to take that team on the road against a really good Minnesota Vikings football team and take them right down the field and find a way to win at the end. Really impressive. Hats off to Jared Goff.
Yeah, I mean, the way he starts football games with such amazing efficiency, the ball just does not touch the ground. It's like watching some of these Matt Stafford tapes from a few years ago with Kupp and Nakua. It's like the ball just doesn't touch the ground for Jared Goff. And to your point about dealing with pressure, nobody has done it better than Jared Goff, and particularly against that Flores unit. And you touched on it. With all those bodies at the line of scrimmage, there is chaos pre-snap. The communication between the offensive line, remiking, trying to figure out who the known rushers are. So for Jared Goff and that unit to all be on the same page, and Ben Johnson, they all have a hive mind, and you can hear these skilled players talk about Jared Goff, the confidence they have in him, the calm he has regardless of what's going on. And I love what you talk about bringing. It was like a 10-yard in that just kept going across the field that ended up becoming a bubble screen on the left side down the field, Matt. I mean, you look at that catch, the block, and that's it. Everybody's on the same page. That's why we see this Lions team doing such a great job. It's like these receivers have taken a little bit from the offensive line. They want to get involved in the blocking scheme and help these guys make big plays. I love it. It's so much fun. It makes sense that Jared Goff's your Quarterback of the Week again.
To put some numbers to it.
Keep going for like over 145 in your rating, you're going to be the guy.
Yep.
The Lions offense has more touchdowns than incompletions over the past 4 weeks. Jared Goff just seemingly, the biggest thing is just when blitz when pressure comes, he just knows his answer. He knows exactly what the antidote is seemingly every single time. And yeah, he's taking a few sacks here and there, but the man is in complete command of an offense. It truly is incredible to watch. You have an honorable mention here, though, that's interesting that I want to discuss a little bit more. So who is your honorable mention here for Week 7?
I mean, I got to give Russ a shout out, right? The first half, not great, but the second half, given all that was going on, all the storylines going into that game last night, for him to come out there and play the way that they did, they go for over 400 yards, over 30 points. Some of them were 50-50 balls, some of them maybe even less than 50-50 balls, but the guys made plays on it. But hats off to him coming out and getting the big win in a week where I felt like everybody was questioning the decision, whether he should be in, whether he shouldn't be in. Mike Tomlin has it in his gut, right, that they can be better offensively. And then Russ comes out last night, struggles early, finally hits that deep go ball to George Pickens on the sideline on the left side. And then it started to get going from there. And, the composure to be able to do that, especially going against the Jets, and everything that we've been hearing about Devontae Adams coming there, Aaron Rodgers, the whole storyline was the Jets and this move. And Russ played a really nice second half. So it's not the performance of Jared Goff, not even close, but hats off to Russ.
Yeah, I mean, that was awesome to see from Russell Wilson. And I was dead wrong about what we were going to see from Russell Wilson, because what are the things that he showed? He was able to evade pressure at certain points and create with his arm. You saw him take some of these plays outside the pocket. Then you talked about the deep balls, getting George Pickens involved, the most talented guy on the roster, not named Watt. That's who you had to get involved in this offense. George Pickens felt like he was a focal point of this offense, and he was, and Russ gave him chances. You understand that better than anybody. When you got a horse over there, you got to let that horse run. You got to let him eat every once in a while. Credit to Russell for doing that. Now the Steelers, they get an opportunity to make a run here with Russell Wilson at quarterback.
The other thing that I like that it did was when you start to throw the ball vertical, they have to respect, you taking shots down the field. And I kind of was of the opinion that their run game might go backwards going to Russell Wilson because of what Justin Fields can do in it. But when you think about the numbers that are going to be up around the line of scrimmage and the physical nature with which that offensive line can play, I think creating space for Najee Harris was a really good thing last night too. So we'll see if they can sustain it. I'm not positive of that. It's hard when you are throwing the ball down the field, throwing go routes left and right, trying to, high point every one of them. There's going to be games where it doesn't work, but for right now and for last night, it was a good move.
He wasn't the only veteran who had a great debut for a new team. I know Kyle wants to discuss a little Marcus Mariota. Kyle, give us your Mariota take.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to play for Marcus Mariota at the University of Oregon prior to him being drafted very highly in the NFL draft. I loved everything about him. He was just the ultimate teammate, the ultimate guy that you would want on your team. People are like, if you could pick one teammate to marry your sister, who would it be? Marcus Mariota. That's like the fastest answer I could ever come up with. Well, you got to see him have an opportunity after Jaden Daniels goes down, and he kind of bridged the gap there really well for this Commanders team. What did you see from Marcus Mariota? What does it tell you about this Commanders offense and what Cliff Kingsbury puts on the plates of his quarterbacks every week?
Yeah, well, number one, I think he's the perfect backup for Jaden Daniels because he's got a skill set that is similar, not the same, maybe not quite the top end speed at this stage of his career that Jaden has, but you don't have to change the game plan, right? You don't have to throw this game plan out to put him in. He can do the quarterback run game. He can do the zone read. He can do all of the things that you're doing with Jaden Daniels, and he's a competent thrower. There's no question about it. So I thought he did a great job yesterday. I think Cliff Kingsbury is doing a phenomenal job in Washington of, getting those guys to buy into what they're doing, playing at different tempos, right? Sometimes they'll speed up. Sometimes they'll no huddle. Sometimes they'll no huddle, go slow. Sometimes they'll speed break from the huddle. So I like all of the things that he's doing pre-snap to give them a chance to win. And then guys are starting to make plays, and there's belief, and you can see it coming together. But I also think, outside of Marcus, and what he did yesterday in terms of coming in and kind of, really just keeping the momentum going that was already there in the game. I think he's a perfect mentor for a guy like Jaden. And I think his role, having gone through what he went through, the ups and the downs, being one of those guys who's drafted early, knowing the expectation, he can really put things into perspective for him day to day. And I think Jaden's going to benefit from that long term. And the Commanders, depending on how long Jaden is out, if he is out, I think the Commanders can rely on a guy like Marcus to go out there and perform.
As cool as it was to see Marcus ball out, I think I can speak for us all here and say I hope he does not play next week as the Commanders travel to Chicago.
Gotta be Caleb.
We need to see the number 1 and number 2.
It's in
picks.
Washington. It is in Washington.
Oh, it is in Washington.
I confirmed.
that up.
So I'm thinking about going down to this game next week after our pregame show. They moved it to that afternoon slot. We get Romo and Nance. Matt, I think I'm going to have to go check this one out in person. I'm not sure yet.
Hop on the train, shoot down to D.C., check out that game in the afternoon. That's not a bad setup.
Bear down, Chicago Bears.
We will definitely be talking about that one with Matt next week.